Can you start? Please give a thumbs up. Okay, so we are going live. Hope everyone is ready, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. On occasion of 3rd anniversary of National Education Policy 2020, which focuses various aspects, but the most important one is regarding financial literacy, that how we can empower our students with financial literacy skills, especially the school-going students, right? In order to get the insight from prominent school leaders from Maharashtra, we at BrightCHAMPS have taken this initiative where we are arranging Bright Talks Marathon. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Prachi Goel, Head of Partnership at BrightCHAMPS. Joining me today, Mr. Sudhir Kukreja, who is Director at Credence International Schools, Ms. Shweta Vakil, ma'am, Principal at SNBP International School, Ms. Shraddha Yerolkar, ma'am, who is Principal at Tilak, Maharashtra Vidyalaya, and Vishakha Gupta, ma'am, who is Principal at Beacon High School. Thank you so much for joining us in this particular Bright Talk Marathon. Welcome to Bright Talks, which is organized by Brain World and BrightCHAMPS. Just talking a little bit about BrightCHAMPS. BrightCHAMPS is a leading global edtech company, which is totally focusing on the next generation life skills, which is entrepreneurship, financial literacy, coding, robotics, AI. So these are the major skills which even NEP has told, right? Like NEP 2020 has been focusing on this particular skills, and we are grateful that we are getting the chance to today talk to you all and understand your views on it, that how exactly financial literacy especially can be implemented in the school. Right. I would like to start from Sudhir sir first, just like understand how things are with you. I know, sir, like Credence School has started in 2012, right? 2012, it started from Aurangabad, and now it's already into 5 states. And I know some schools are in developed cities and some are in underdeveloped cities also, like in Chhattisgarh and other locations. I just want to know, like, I have heard some time back, like you have told this thing that you are focusing especially on integrating the foundation of technology, right, in your schools. I would like you to enlighten us that how exactly you are leveraging this educational technology to foster financial literacy, and also how financial literacy involves the practical applications. Which can, like, how exactly you are teaching to the students the real world example which they can apply in their real life. So can I know your views on it, sir?
Sure. Thanks, Prachi. Pleasure being a part of this webinar by BrightCHAMPS. Thank you so much. I'm sure this is going to add a lot of value to your viewers and our students and teachers around. Well, to tell you a little bit of background of how Credence started, like anybody who might have heard of Credence schools anywhere, our foundation has been laid on integrating technology. So that has been our very prime focus. So right from 2012, when we started, we were, I think, one of the very few and the first schools in India to introduce iPads in our classrooms, where we introduced one-on-one student-based iPads. We partnered with Apple in India at that point of time. We developed a curriculum which was completely focused on delivering content and making the entire learning experience for a child quite immersive and at the same time experiential. So we mapped almost 1,000+ applications on Apple platform to a CBSE curriculum and an ICSE curriculum. So that's where we started off. Now, the journey has been long. It's been almost 10 years since we've been into the system. And since then, there are various technologies that we worked with, right from the likes of AR and VR and gamification of things. So various domains is what we've touched upon, we've explored. As a school, as a team, all our teachers, our curriculum developers, our content designers, everybody has that focus that, you know, we are living in a 21st century, which is changing the dynamics of learning with every passing month, I would say. You have a new technology, a new edtech, a new company coming up with a new innovation. So that is what is something that you need to be, very open arms with, where you can embrace new technologies, experiment with new ideas, and that is how it has happened. Coming to the idea of financial literacy, I think that's a very critical point, which is highlighted by NEP and which is now being adopted by a large number of schools across India. I'm sure in the coming years, the decades, this will become an integral part of our learning delivery process. So within our schools, once again, we focused a lot on the financial literacy, specifically with our commerce students, right from class maybe 7th or 9th onwards. I've always been an advocate of experiential learning, practical learning aspects. So we've never limited our kids to, learning only from textbooks. They've experimented with platforms like, money control. You have platforms like Zerodha. We've done live projects. We made our kids observe various company balance sheets and, stock market movements and mutual funds and investments and whatnot. So each of the things that you would probably try and teach a child out of a textbook or a conceptual presentation, you might want to take them to a real world. And thanks to internet in today's time, you have a number of platforms. There are platforms available where you can simulate, a lot of investments. So without even having a real money, you can assign a certain pool of funds to every child and let them be a co-investor in the system. So those are the kind of simulative environments which you can expose the child to, and that's what we are trying to do across our schools and classes. So that is where I think that's the foundation of digital integration, digital technology integration with financial literacy. Maybe a small example that I could quote here.
And this you are doing in across schools, right? Like the schools which are there in Mumbai or otherwise Chhattisgarh, all this location you are trying to integrate in the same way?
So our curriculum is same across the country, whether we are operating in Mumbai or we are operating in Hyderabad, or we might be operating in a small little town in Maharashtra or Telangana or Chhattisgarh. That doesn't matter. Our price points would be different depending on the market and the paying capacity of the parents, infrastructure, rentals, etc. But academically, we don't discriminate. Academically, our program remains the same wherever we are, whatever we are doing. I'll give you a small example. I have a city in Devas, which is located in Madhya Pradesh, which is close to 30 kilometers from Indore. Over there, I charge a fees which is 1/3 of what I charge in Mumbai. But there also, I have the same iPad, same application, same processes, nothing changes. My classroom in Mumbai looks as identical as it would be in Devas. So there is no discrimination in academics there.
And that's what is really enriching, that every student equally get that kind of opportunity. What people say is कि okay, cities में जाओगे तो you will study this all things, but यहाँ पे शायद आपको वो value education नहीं मिल पाए. But I believe कि okay, school leaders are also taking that kind of initiative where everybody can get equal kind of opportunities. It should not be like city specifics.
No, I think technology has broken those barriers. You have to understand, a teacher who's available in Mumbai may not be necessarily available across the country. I mean, there are physical human challenges for you to travel, but technology has been an enabler. That is where technology has played a role. Today, you have people who can conduct a live classroom sitting in any part of the world, So that doesn't matter. You can connect a teacher, maybe in a Harvard University to a person sitting in Devas. That's possible.
Right.
So it's just that you need to probably enable that infrastructure, give those opportunities to the children. And that's I mean, no longer the locations are a barrier.
Thank you so much for that insight. Really helpful. I would just like to ask one more question from Shweta ma'am. Shweta ma'am, I know that you believe on give the children's exposure, let them live, and they will assuredly be global citizen of the future, right? I have heard you multiple times where you have mentioned this thing. So now I would like to understand in your school, NEP 2020 has influenced the school approach also to incorporate financial literacy into the curriculum. What specific financial topics or skills do you prioritize for the students' development?
See, firstly, financial literacy to begin with is a possession of sets that a child possesses or an individual possesses, and the knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources that they have. Since national education policy was unveiled, a lot of euphoric activities have been seen amongst all the educational stakeholders. They were sharply called for introducing all new age courses as a part of curricular and extracurricular activities in their schools and educational institutes. To have a deeper understanding of why this need came to introduce financial literacy as a part of school education, let's look at some facts. As per data available from the RBI, a mere 27% of Indian adults today, and only 24% of women meet the minimum requirement of financial literacy standards.
That's a fact, I believe, which our audience should know, that it is something which is enlightening for our audience also. This is the fact which they should know about it.
According to one of the economic survey released in 2022 by Ministry of Finance, only 3 people out of 100 have a life insurance policy. As per the percentage reported by SEBI, only 27% of adults and 16.7% of teenagers in India are financially literate. When we look at these numbers, considering the population that we have and the vision that we have set for our country, are very alarming. I believe that is the only reason that NEP has come up introducing financial literacy as a part of school education. And as our school, we would want and we do appraise the children with topics like investments, budgeting, saving, understanding what simple and compound interests are, understanding what income means, what securities are, and have set goals for retirements too. What is money and the world currency? What world currency in the world are actually worth, and how worth is measured in exchange rates today. Why saving is important and how to save in today's world. Value of money will change as the time changes, primarily because of influence of many factors. So it's very important for us to appraise the children by to analyze the pros and cons of their buying decisions that they make today. Money inflation is very, very one important topic that we want the children to know about. Insurance, risks and rewards associated with insurance. Basic tax system must be appraised to our children at an early age. And we must also make them understand that how do really banks work, the differences and applications of credit card and debit card, calculating the difference between fixed and floating interest rate of interests, and ultimately equipping them to be better entrepreneurs, equipping them to be better individuals as they grow up. So I feel financial literacy is a very, very important topic that we must use it as one of the skill subject in our schools today. Understanding the need of the hour. Also, we have so smart children, they already are aware of stock markets. They already want to, start earning money at a very early age. So appraising them of all the necessary skills to be a better individuals is, I think, responsibility of all of us as educators.
Thank you so much for sharing that, ma'am. I believe the fact what you have mentioned and with the topics, that is very enlightening. These are the topics which has been told by NEP 2020 also to implement in the school curriculum. And if that is happening already, it is great. But there are some challenges still which some schools are facing in order to inculcate, right? So we will talk about, yeah.
The biggest challenge I feel is training the workforce, training the teachers. No matter how much we plan, if we are unable to implement it, it becomes very difficult. First and foremost, I feel, because when we look at schools, we have 90% is a women-oriented education sector primarily in schools. So I think we must, train our task force very, very well so that they are able to percolate it down equally.
And related to this only, I have another question which I would like to ask Vishakha ma'am. Vishakha ma'am, I was hearing one of your previous talks and I got to know, like you have mentioned one particular word, that maintaining the quality of what you want to deliver is the challenge of present time, right? Now, this is when you have mentioned, I am sure like you have jotted down all the different aspects and then you have come up with this particular statement, right? So may I just understand, in your experience, what are the most effective teaching methodologies you have used to engage the students of financial, used to engage the students to enhance their financial skills, concepts and all?
Thank you, Prachi, and thank you, BrightCHAMPS. for inviting me over this platform. It's a wonderful opportunity to be sharing the platform with the seasoned educationists. What I personally believe is there's a saying that says, teach me and I forget. Tell me I forget. Teach me I remember. But involve me and I learn. And this maxim I follow with my students. So my students are involved into the process of learning about finance. And this is what helps them in coming up with ways of managing finance. So as Shweta ma'am was talking about the profit and loss and similar things, and Sudhir sir was talking about giving them equal opportunities, in my school, I feel when the child does things himself or herself, that really works well for them. So I try and ask all parents and all children to have their saving accounts, which they have to manage themselves, their own bank accounts. So whatever pocket money they have to make a budget, a monthly budget out of their pocket money. They have to go and deposit a part of it, whether they get it as an extra amount from their parents or they share it out of their pocket money is totally left to the parents to decide. But they have to go and deposit this money themselves into the bank. They should know how to fill up checks. So we have dummy checks that we ask children to fill up. These are things that involve the children. When they do something themselves, it works well. Because as the saying rightly goes, I do it and I remember it. Also, we have open conversations about what they know and what they don't know. Like I have students who are YouTubers and they're earning. So they've already planned things with their parents as to what should be the kind of likes I should have, how many followers I should have, when I would start getting money from Google. After how many followers would I have that money, right? There are students who are selling their paintings online. So business is in Indian blood. We just need to channelize it. We need to tell them whatever you're doing is perfect, but then now the earning, so what you invested in doing that work and what the returns you have to manage. So again, profit and loss is taught in a very, very practical way. Also, I have play games together. So for a smaller class, I set up a market. I have paper currency for them and they go and buy. And then is it a profit? Is it a loss when you've given more money and you left with this much? Did you buy it at a profit? Did you buy it at a loss? Right? So banking, investments, these are very important things that my children need to know. Also, I encourage them to make money games in the class. So something like a business is made in a modified way by the students. They are introduced to what is investment, earning, saving, expenditure, investment. All these aspects are discussed with them by the teachers and by specialists that we have who visit the children. Also, they are told how to, what are emergency funds, what are regular funds, emergency savings, regular savings, by having, different piggy banks. So they have the different, so this is my money for emergency. Only when I'm not able to arrange funds from everywhere and the dire situation that I have to break open this piggy bank, I would touch it, otherwise I won't. This is when I can open it, borrow money and put it back. So these things are being done on a regular basis with the children. So concepts like giving, saving, spending, investing is done with them. Then they set goals and save. They have to calculate the monthly allowance that they get and how are they going to budget it. So budgeting also becomes a very important part of it. Then they have to review with their friends, their teachers, and the parents. Now, see, the parent community is an integral part of the NEP system today. We cannot let the parent community be out of the scenario. So my parents also, become a part of it, and we have parents who visit our school. They discuss with the children. There are CAs in the parent body who come and discuss these things with the children. There are people working in the field of finance who come and discuss these with our children, and they kind of give these tips. Again, all this is class-wise, age-appropriate. I cannot be talking about the high-end financial literacy to a grade 1. Yeah, so teach them while they're shopping. So parents are told, okay, why are you going to shop? Tell them that this is the MRP, you're getting it at this amount. So what is the discount you've got? Simple things like they should first know the terms, the profit, what is the discount. So these terms are introduced to them in the class. I have to make things very, very practical for them. Why? Because the earlier a child learns and understands these concepts, he'll be able to plan for his or her future better with his parents. See, they have to pay a fee. They should know what's an education loan. My senior students should know what an education loan is. How is it repaid? So I have bankers coming in talking to my children that what's an education loan? How are they paid? How is a credit? What is credit? How does a credit from a money lender differ from a credit from a bank? How are they supposed to pay, when we have those housing loans or the various other loans? Earlier you pay, you save on interest. So all these things are practically shared. There are a lot of visitors who visit my school. There are a lot of activities that happen in my school to brief the children about all such stuff. Insurance is a very important part. Like Shweta ma'am quoted certain statistics, that Reserve Bank says that 27% of adults and 24% of women, they just know about financial literacy. Rest, they may be 50% of the straight off women earning, but they don't manage their earnings. Their earnings are still managed by the male counterpart. Similarly, the Ministry of Finance says that out of 100, there are only 3 people who have a life insurance. The similar data also shows that health insurance is just 0.4% in our country yet. So what is the importance of all of this? Why should this be carried out? Having experts come over and talk to the students, understanding the need and the saving that at the end of it comes to them is all that we do, right? Again, I come back and conclude by saying, tell me and I forget, teach me, I remember, and involve me, I learn. And that's the maxim followed at Beacon High School. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. With that, I would just like to tell, even at BrightCHAMPS, we focus on 4 skills, 4 different aspects, I can say, of financial literacy. We are focusing on spending, saving, earning, and investing. If these 4 things you are able to know, I believe you will be at least ready. Okay, this is what financial literacy is all about, right? If these 4 skills are ready. And I would just like to give you one example also, which recently, like one of the BrightCHAMPS students did. He learned financial literacy. And then after that, once he has completed his class, his parents were actually planning to go to Kodaikanal. And that's how when the parents were planning, he was like, I will do the budgeting where 1 lakh ka he taken as a expense. Okay, 1 lakh aap spend karoge, and this is the number for which I will be doing the budgeting. He has literally created a whole expense sheet ki in 1 week, how you will be spending that 1 lakh rupee. The parent was so happy after seeing that whole expense sheet that he himself has sent us the testimonial ki, okay, this is my child, what he has learned from you. So I believe parents do become a brand ambassador, and this kind of cases you might have also seen in your schools where parents have become the brand ambassador that, okay, we are able to see the changes. I would like to know one point from here. Sudhir sir, there are many schools who are not able to implement this. It's been 3 years. NEP 2020 has came like in 2020. And then after that, it's 3 years, but still they are somewhere facing the problem. Maybe parents are not accepting it, or maybe some or other reason. Can you help us to understand like how exactly we can make this path easy for any schools? Like even if they are not able to understand how exactly to implement, can you give certain tips where we can understand how it can be easily implemented in the school?
Okay, so I think Prachi, you had an answer to this question if you deep dive a little into the explanation that Shweta ma'am and Vishakha ma'am did mention right here. The problem doesn't lie inside the school campus. The problem lies in our society. Something that Shweta ma'am highlighted, something that Vishakha ma'am highlighted, even, the statistics that they shared. If we say that 90% of our teaching workforce is females and only 20% of them are handling their financial life, or their finances in their life, that is where you see the problem. Yeah, because 90% of the teachers standing inside the classrooms are teachers. And if they are not managing their own finances, how will they teach somebody else how to manage their finances? So, somebody said charity starts at home. Similarly, financial literacy starts at home. So the first thing that you need to ask yourself as a teacher, and maybe I conduct a lot of teacher training programs. I do a lot of training programs for my own employees. I think I've shared this link with my entire team today because I somewhere wanted them to understand. Let me take a very simple example. It's been 23 years that I've been into a working life. And after 3 years of my working, I stopped enrolling for a provident fund. Yeah, because there is a Government of India norm which says that if your basic salary is more than 15,000, you can opt out of PF and decide your own investments wherever you want to do. Now, every time I hire a school principal or I hire a coordinator or I hire a teacher, I have still seen a tendency that they will harp on, do you have a PF? Will I get a PF? But they don't understand this, that there is a reason why there is someone who's advocating that you should try and opt out of PF. I'm not saying that you should not go for PF at all. There are benefits to it. But then as a financially literate person, as a financially analytical person, you would probably want to do your own analysis as to where exactly do you have the best investment opportunities, where do you get the best returns, and how do you safeguard yourself. So that is what is the whole idea of financial literacy, that you have to first do your own analysis, right? So if we can motivate our own teams, our own teachers, our own parents, and I do these workshops for our parents as well. So if you look at the history of India, historically, Government of India has maintained a 7 or 8% PF rate, or maybe even less than that. Yeah. So come what may, you might spend your entire life saving in your PF, you'll not get more than 8% return. Similarly, if you look at my father or my grandfather or any of those people in this generation, they have been investing their money in a fixed deposit. But today, in today's world, if you take a look, any bank would be offering you a fixed deposit between 5 to 6%, 7% at the max for a senior citizen. But in a country where your inflation is 8%, or your inflation is 7%, so if you're saving 7% in a fixed deposit and your inflation goes on to 7%, a financially literate person will understand that your net saving is zero. You might as well spend that money today rather than spending tomorrow. There's no point in saving that money because that money is losing its own value over a period of a year. Yeah, if the inflation crosses 8%, your 7% saving is of no use. What you would have probably bought this year, if you try and buy that next year, it will become 8% more expensive. So that kind of teaching, that kind of understanding, that kind of analytical discussion is what we'll probably need to have with our workforce. Like Shweta ma'am very clearly pointed out, the biggest challenge is to bring up that workforce, because eventually a government can make a policy. Yeah, eventually the teachers will have to implement that thing inside the classrooms. Yeah, we have 28 crore teachers, 28 crore children, and maybe 4 crore plus teachers across the country. If that is the workforce which we need to bring about, I believe that's the first step. I mean, any person, look at your own family. I'll probably take my own family. My dad always used to spend money and save money in fixed deposits. It's only when I became a MBA in finance and I started working with stock markets, I started analyzing mutual funds, etc. I could give him the statistics that what is the historical trends of mutual fund returns, what are the historical trends of gold returns, what are the historical trends of property returns, what are the historical trends of FD returns. Basis that you might want to make your decision as to what you want to do. Of course, there is a risk profile involved in each of the investments, which is to do with your age group. You can probably try and take a higher risk at a very young age, and as you keep on growing and at a higher age group, you might want to safeguard your risk factors. So financial literacy is not just a word, it's a way of living your life. It's about how do you plan it. I was talking about insurance. Some of the very important aspects of your life is insurance. Now, we've been investing, again, my father, the previous generations, they've been investing big time into what is called as LICs. But if you look at LIC or a plan, something which tells you that, okay, you invest your money today and we'll give you the premium back after 20 years. Now, 10 years ago, if somebody had come and told me that, you put your money into a LIC or some kind, not just LIC, but any insurance company, a term plan, you give me your premium and after 10 years, I'll give you a premium back, I would have been really happy about it. Oh, wow, he's giving me a premium back. But today, when it comes to me, I feel, oh, you're trying to make a fool out of me because in 5 years, anyways, my money is going to get doubled. So you are going to save the rest of the next 5 years. And that is what is your business model. So don't try and fool me. I don't want to do that. I'll rather put my money somewhere else. So that's something which you have to understand, that now if the more you read, the more you go online, the more you explore these kind of courses, I think there are enough resources available for you to become a financially literate person. Only thing that you need to have is a will and an intent. If you go ahead and watch, even just type a word financial literacy on YouTube and you'll get a million sources. Right. Of course, there are kind of courses available on Udemy and platform like yours. It's about an intent. If a person wants to learn all these things, there are enough opportunities today to learn each of these things, and that will bring you to a place where you will be able to make a financially sound decision for your family, for your parents, for your office staff, or anybody around in your system. It's more about you being aware of it. Yeah. And in today's time, if you're not managing these aspects of your life, I think it's a recipe for disaster in the long run. And I think somewhere in our life, we do get financially literate. Everybody to a different extent. Maybe for somebody it happens at a graduate level, somebody it happens at a postgraduate level, somebody it happens after 5 years of working, but somebody it happens after 20 years of working. So the sooner you do it, the better it is. And that is the reason maybe it's important for the school children to learn it. And the faster we can bring it into the school system, we are probably able to nurture the next generation into a better prosperous life.
And that's why I believe NEP comes in, where they are actually asking the school children to learn about it, which was not happening previously, right? Shweta ma'am, you wanted to add something? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Children are so enterprising these days. We are talking about, sir mentioned about courses online. We have web series, we have movies which are coming and which want to share how, scams have happened in the past. Right? How history was created in few years. So children are aware of all these things, when they get an exposure to watch the movies and web series, I think they primarily have a basic knowledge, but as schools, we are supposed to give them the right knowledge for it. They're appraised to few concepts, but how do they work? How to take it up ahead? How to micro and macro plan about it for their goals in life? We as schools have a larger responsibility now.
Right.
Children are very, very enterprising. A child who is 10-year-old wants to start up a business. A child, a teenager wants to invest into stock market. You ask children these days, what profession would you want to choose? I want to be at home and be a day trader. That is one of the most spoken about professions which children want to do it at a very early age.
That's very true, ma'am. With this, I just remember there was one child who was preparing diyas out of clay. And what she did, after coming to this age when she has learned about little bit about entrepreneurship and financial literacy, she just started thinking this way कि okay, अगर ये दिया को जाके मैं टेम्पल के बगल में जो वेंडर्स बैठे हुए हैं उनको दे दूंगी तो किस तरह से उसका अमाउंट मुझे पैसिव इनकम जैसे आता रहेगा, and I not need to actually sit and sell it. So, matlab, it is more like a passive income idea which she has come up with. And another piece, this was just one example. And Sudhir sir has mentioned one thing that all resources are available right now. Like NEP has told this all the topics jo ki padha lo. But what is happening somewhere, the implementation is not happening properly. And that's where I believe BrightCHAMPS is also focusing on the trainers model, where we send our trainers to the school and we ask, okay, these are the expert trainers who will be actually able to take the class for grade 3 to grade 12 students. They actually go physically and then take the classes. So I believe that kind of implementation is also required, because Atal Tinkering Lab, let's say, it has been implemented in the school, but most of the schools are not able to actually take a use of it. Government ne provide kar diya, okay, you take this lab, but later on they are not able to use that lab because they don't have a proper trainers for the same. What do you think about the same, Vishakha ma'am? Would you like to add?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prachi.
Yeah.
See, our children these days, make in India, and all such schemes have given the children the idea that now they are students, especially in the cities. I do not have a very clear idea about the towns and rural areas, but now children want to be job providers rather than job seekers. That is a mind shift that we see in our young learners today. And being job providers, they want to do something where they are financially independent at a very young age. And children are very aware, they search, they research, and they are aware that the government is providing a lot of financial aid and assistance for startups in the country. Right? So there are children who already decided they want to have a startup. They will, apply to certain companies in the US. They will look for funding. They will look for government help. Right? So that is the kind of research our children do. But at the same time, we as educators have to ensure, because I'm coming to the other part of it, but then we as educators have also to ensure our children are highly on the internet for research. And that is where the white and the dark net, we have to make them aware of. That while you're researching, please be sure that you're not being duped. Right? Because when we go to online businesses, there are a lot of chances of people duping, cheating, and kind of causing some kind of physical or mental harm. So these things also, as school leaders, as educationers, we have to ensure. Right? Otherwise, children have taken up jobs like website developers, online marketings, and they are very, very alert and active about being early earners in life. The parents are also very supportive. In our times, it was like JEE kar lo, NEET kar lo, yeah, engineer ban jao, doctor ban jao, and that's it. Thoda bahut kuch bacha to CA kar lo, ya bank mein job kar lo, right? Aur kuch nahi bacha to teacher ban jao. It was like that. But today, Sudhir sir, I know you're laughing because all of us have that gray hair and we know what our parents told us. So yes, this was it. But then kudos to the parents and also to the educational fraternity and the government that there is an awareness. Parents are aware that there are other lines. Schools have been organizing a lot of, career counselings. So parents have become aware about the career options available, which is why they have also become supportive and understanding. Now, I was just reading a statistics the other day. 20 lakh plus students sat for the MBBS UG exam this year. How many seats? 70,000 seats. What would those 90 lakh and 10, 12, whatever thousand children do is a big question. Right? They would not get the seats for sure. So they have to look at options. So parents have also now started looking into statistics, which is why the parent fraternity also has become very supportive and understanding for children to take up diverse fields. Schools have played a very important role in this because they have told children what are the other avenues available, that earnings are not bad, earnings are excellent in other fields. Parents have also supported that, they have understood that, they are letting children do things. That's a very important thing. No matter what schools do and say, if parents do not support, the child can never do that. They can never venture into those fields because our children are still financially dependent. They are not still children of other countries where they have, they can go earn and support education. They will not get an education loan. They need a deposit. Right? So parents have become understanding, and which is why work has become slightly easier for us as school leaders. As a society and a community, there is more of receptiveness for variety. And which is why Sudhir sir is able to give tablets to a school in Mumbai as well as in Devas, because that is the parent acceptance.
Right.
They know my child can do something. Yeah, otherwise they might say, sir, tablet mat do na, fees kam kar do, but they know that tablet is going to help the child. So sir can do a better task with training his children. Sudhir sir, do you agree with what I said?
Sir, would you like to add? Yeah.
Obviously, ma'am, yes. I mean, there is no denial and there is no, disagreement to anything that you've stated. The only thing that I'd like to probably mention here is, so we don't charge anything to the parent to spend on the iPad. The school only invests in the entire IT infrastructure.
Yeah, you told me
So
that.
that's one part.
That's a wonderful
But
thing.
that's immaterial. That really doesn't make any difference. Your point is still very much there, that the acceptance from the parent has very much come in. The awareness has really come in. And I think we as a generation are quite blessed in the way we've kind of got exposure. I mean, sometimes when I talk to my dad or my grandfather, the kind of hardships that they've had in their life. And let's not forget, I mean, it's got to do a little bit, not a little bit, to a very large extent, it's got to do with the kind of economic situations and conditions that our parents have lived through. If you go back to the early independent days, right from 1947 to maybe 1960s and 70s, India was an extremely, struggling country kind of. And at that point of time, the only thing that we was probably maybe our parents and government and everybody in the society, their first priority was to secure their bread and butter. Now, there has been economic prosperity that has come up in the last so many decades that we've passed. And thanks to the liberalization in 1991, that literally opened up the entire economy, and all segments of the society have been boosted, whether it is IT, whether it is financial sector, automobile, or any industry for that matters. So there has been a complete transformation of India as an economy and as a country. And that is probably the reason with which all the opportunities that we are talking about or we're discussing now have opened up. And then thanks to the technology evolution from where you had a dot-com bubble or something like that in late 90s and stuff like that. And after that, the internet revolution that has taken place, thanks to people like Geo. So the access to internet has improved. So I think it's a 360-degree development that has taken place, which is supporting the entire ecosystem. 20 years ago, when I graduated from my college or my school, we had never heard of something called as digital marketing. We had never heard of something called as investing. I mean, I graduated from a city called Indore and I came to Mumbai. When I landed in Mumbai, I didn't know anything about stock markets. And then I became a financial investor or an analyst as well. So the life has transformed, but that's not the case today. Today in our schools in Devas or in Indore, people have the aspirations of becoming traders or becoming financial analysts or trading in the markets and, taking care of big portfolios, etc. So that's all because of the exposure that's coming through technology. And maybe what Prachi was trying to mention. So I had nowhere, I'm very much in sync with Prachi's idea for the need of the right set of trainers and partners to implement these, financial literacy programs. BrightCHAMP is, I believe, a very good initiative, but maybe we probably need 1,000 more BrightCHAMPs in India to bring India to a level where we want them to be. Yeah, I mean, government of India would probably find it difficult to achieve that level of financial literacy that you need in this country. That's because let's accept the fact that we are 1/5 of the world population. Let's not forget that. I mean, that we are one country we are one out of the 206 countries, but we are 1/5 of the world's population. That is what is the biggest challenge that we have. So if that challenge is something which government of India is trying to attempt, I'm sure all the schools have their own role to play, and people like BrightCHAMPS, of course, have a role to play, a great journey ahead. A very big challenge, but at the same time, a very exciting journey. So I believe both things have to go hands in hand.
We are on it. We will solve it together. Thank you so much for this insightful talk. I am sure many things I have learned, my audience have got more insights on how exactly they can work on this particular path. So thank you so much for being here, as spending your Saturday afternoon with me. And hopefully, we will talk more. I believe it is never ending talk on this particular topic. So we would require more and more time.
Yeah, I would like to just, summarize it, that we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of people. We have a lot of, resources. We only need to channelize that. And I think that's where BrightCHAMPS can add value and create the community coming ahead now.
We are already on it and hoping by next year, you will be seeing something new, which is going to come in. So let's have a discussion on that also. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We will be starting the next series, and then hope you all will be joining there and just have a look at what is the next topic, right? Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you, Prachi. Thank you, BrightCHAMPS. Thank you, Sudhir. Thank you, Shweta, ma'am. for bringing us on this platform and going ahead with such a wonderful and engrossing discussion that we jumped over time and didn't realize that. Yeah, but then this is the most sought after discussion required, very much required for our present generation.
If I might have not got the
future.
Yeah, if I might have not got the message from my team, I might have continued a little bit more.
Yeah, I understand.
It's a pleasure and lovely being a part of this discussion.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Prachi. Thank you, BrightCHAMPS.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone.